The 2025 Formula One World Championship, the 75th anniversary of the sport, is underway. And, well, it's clear enough to say we still have somebody that is still talking amongst us in the paddock. And that man is the man on the thumbnail, as you may have seen, or maybe if you may have not seen due to certain reasons that are unknown, Helmut Marko. Now, Helmut Marko, Red Bull Supremo, of course, the man responsible for most of the talents coming through the Red Bull Junior team. Others stayed, others left, others may have never even made it to the sport at all, but he was responsible for at least getting them somewhere. However, Helmut Marko has been making a lot of interesting comments which many people do not agree with. And, well, you must be wondering, what are some of those comments? Well, in case you've been hibernating for the last few days, I'll start off by saying what he said about your 7-time world champion, Lewis Hamilton, where he was saying about Lewis, saying Max Verstappen, a mediocre Max Verstappen in a mediocre Red Bull, may still beat a fast Lewis Hamilton. Now that is a really interesting comment to make about Lewis Hamilton. I won't even get started about the 7 world championships because Red Bull weren't really on that level where Mercedes were when Lewis was winning all those championships. I'll go as far back as the 7th of July 2024, the British Grand Prix, where, well, Lewis Hamilton won that race with Max Verstappen second. Now, I won't say that was a mediocre Red Bull because Red Bull was, well, mid. They were, as Gattuso, the famous football player, once said, sometimes maybe good, sometimes maybe rubbish. Red Bull wasn't that mediocre at the time, but they were not that great at all because Mercedes was, if not the fastest team, or one of the fastest teams, if first, if not second. They were quick enough, and that's what led Lewis Hamilton to win. And, well, he beat Max Verstappen, who was on his way to a 4th championship. And that really gets me wondering as to why Helmut Marko gave such an opinion, because, I mean, we all saw the race that day and we saw how Lewis Hamilton performed. He never really had a fast car the whole season, but he had fast cars on decent days. And, well, he proved a lot of people wrong that day, and I think we all saw that. Well, on to another comment that Helmut Marko gave, and this was during the Grand Prix weekend, where he called Gabriel Bortoleto, Brazil's first Formula One driver since 2017, Felipe Massa, in case you're wondering, a C-tier driver. That was really uncalled for, if I'm honest. I mean, Bortoleto won Formula 3 and Formula 2 titles. I believe they were in his first season, correct me if I'm wrong, but Bortoleto, we know, is talented. He's a very good driver, and, well, in response to that, Gabriel Bortoleto said that he's going to prove him wrong. And of course, we know Gabriel Bortoleto out-qualified Liam Lawson, a Red Bull driver, as Liam Lawson got knocked out in Q1 and Bortoleto went through to Q2. And he's, well, gotten a lot of criticism for that as Helmut Marko, because nobody really wanted to know whether he's a C tier or A tier or F tier. Nobody really cares. They just want to see how good he is on the track, and one race is not going to prove that. There's 23 races remaining on the calendar, and obviously Bortoleto is going to show himself. But if there is one that a lot of people have been talking about until now, it's the comments that he made towards the sister team, Visa Cash App Red Bulls. Let's just say Racing Bulls in short. V-carb. And their newly promoted driver from Formula 2 as well, Isaac Hadjar, who is also in his debut season, well, let's just say made an error at the second corner on the formation lap, where he was trying to get some temperature into the tires, very wet conditions, and he unfortunately spun off and hit the wall, ending his race before he even began. And as we all know that Isaac Hadjar was in tears as soon as he got out of the car because he knew that he messed up. But at least a very caring and friendly figure such as Anthony Hamilton, the father to Lewis, was there to comfort him as he was on his way to his motorhome, and even followed him up in his motorhome to at least give him some encouragement, not just because Isaac Hadjar really loves Lewis Hamilton because that's his inspiration, but because Anthony Hamilton is also a father that knows what their son went through to get to the sport, and well, seen him at the top many times, 7 times. But for Helmut Marko to say that Hadjar showing his emotions, crying, was embarrassing, I feel like that is a really harsh thing to say, because he's a rookie, of course. He's not in the same car that he was in last year, which was a Formula 2 car. It's not the same car, and obviously he's still trying to build himself up. So these things of crying, they've all happened before. They've happened to many people. Everybody has to cry once in a while, especially when you make a horrible mistake. But to say that it's an embarrassing thing to do isn't really something necessary, and is also uncalled for. If they wanted to get his opinion as to what they thought, as to what he thought, I mean, he should have just said these things happen. But to say it's embarrassing doesn't really fit in. So Helmut Marko, I feel, should slow his words down a lot, because as Fernando Alonso said, he should also focus on his own drivers, because the opinion he gave on Gabriel Bortoleto was really harsh. For someone who's a rookie and is still learning their way around Formula 1, I feel like to call him a C-tier driver is really, really bad. But for Helmut Marko, I feel like he should slow his comments down a lot, because some of them are uncalled for and really harsh, especially to the rookies. So I really hope he does not go out and attack any more rookies. But that's all I've had to say, and if my opinion was or wasn't appealing to you, there's a comment section where you can say whatever you want. Please keep it respectful. And if you want to see more content based on opinions, facts, as I usually do, and the very best of Formula 1 and motorsport, subscribe to the channel and you shall never miss out. Thank you for watching.